So, Cornell, do you agree with Schumer there, or are the Democrats just kind of doing a little bit of overreach, making more of Kansas that may be just unique to Kansas as opposed to what we may see nationally?
You know, I can't. It's funny to me because, you know, Michael, you and myself and Matt, we're the political campaign hacks here, and we see.
So you know where I'm going with my question, right?
Yeah, I do. And let me tell you something. Democrats be out of their minds if they did not make abortion a central argument referendum in this midterm. This is the midterm as a referendum on abortion. Look, it solved a couple of problems. You look at the registration that took place in Kansas after Roe v. Wade was overturned. You know, women surged in their registration, and the turnout among women absolutely surged. It mobilized these young voters and these women voters in a way, quite frankly, I'm sorry, Michael, we don't have a lot of other things that mobilize them quite this way around. It's not going to be about inflation for these young voters, and Democrats would be foolhardy if they did not, in fact, make this a referendum on abortion, because it does energize and it does change the dynamics of this. I'm less worried about overreach than Democrats not using this. And to the point earlier, it's not just the governor's races, but if you look at the battleground congressional races, almost every Republican challenger or a Republican incumbent is on the record for supporting the overturn of Roe v. Wade. And some of them are going even further and sort of talking about contraceptive. Democrats would be out of their mind if they did not sort of use that this coming fall in advertisement and pound Republicans on where they are far, far out of place with the majority of Americans, and certainly the majority of women who have awakened because of the overturn of Roe v. Wade.
So Matthew, let's pick up on Cornell's point about the registration, the impact on registration after the court's decision on Roe. You have this new Monmouth poll, university poll, that's showing 50% of Americans prefer Democrats controlling Congress versus 43% preferring Republicans being in charge. Now, what's important here is that that's a 7-point advantage for Democrats, which is up from June. Now, we saw how energizing the overturning of Roe versus Wade is among voters. But what do you think is behind this surge? Is it sustainable into the fall? How do you read what the polls are starting to tell us?
So a great question. So this is what I think, and I took a real good look at the poll. So that same pollster had Republicans up in May by 4 points. And so now Democrats are up by 7. That's an 11-point swing over the course of 2 months, which usually only happens when you're in the midst of a major scandal. That's the only thing that happens. And I think, as I said before, it's not only Roe, it's January 6th and it's guns, but Roe is driving this. You look deeper in the poll, and what's motivating, what's happening is Democrats now lead Republicans on motivation. For all of this year, Republicans had the lead on who was most motivated. Democrats now lead on who's the most motivated. And it's not just what happened in Kansas. Registration levels of potential Democratic voters across the country, Texas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, have all risen starkly over the course of the last 60 days, 2 months, and when we've seen this. And so I agree totally with Cornell. It's a gift. In a political gift, though it's awful what it's done, what the Supreme Court did, awful what it's done substantively, but it's a political gift to the Democrats. And the other thing I want to mention about the Monmouth poll that I find fascinating, going to an earlier point, is that Joe Biden's approval rating didn't change between May and July. So his approval rating was just as bad in May. It didn't improve in July. And so it has nothing to do, and this is what I think the Democrats need to be smart on, is while voters have decoupled what they're going to vote is going to be in Congress from Joe Biden, Democrats need to decouple their messaging. They don't need to worry about hawking great things that Joe Biden's done to try to make Joe Biden appear better and all of that. They should let that go and just basically say, we're the ones that are going to protect your freedoms. We're the ones that are going to protect your democracy. And do not turn over. Don't give the keys to these crazy people. That should be the fundamental message every single Democrat should run on, no matter what they're running for.
Matthew Dowd just used the word of the day, decoupled, because that is why I believe the Democrats have a chance to hold the House in November. Okay, I put it on tape, so it's out there. You guys are going to blow me up, but it's out there. Jonathan Lemire and Katty Kay.
I agree with you.
Thank you. Thank you. The voters are telling us something that all the smart pollsters aren't paying attention to. But anyway, Jonathan Lemire of The Big Lie. Thank you. Katty Kay, thank you. Both Matthew and Cornell are sticking around. When we return, how the RNC is hooking up with the big Steele advocates to train election workers in key battleground states in what could be a precursor to overturning the 2024 election. Plus, the growing threat of violence against election officials. The Senate Judiciary Committee today tackling how to protect democracy's frontline workers. And after days of protesting Republicans who were blocking it, expanded health care for veterans exposed to toxic burn pits has passed the Senate and is awaiting President Biden's signature. Deadline White House continues after a quick break, so don't go anywhere.